Full attention, Tamar Artin.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name's Tamar Artin, and I'm a senior here at CSUN. I'm a communications major, and the topic I'm going to be talking about today is something really close to my heart. I am Armenian, so living in the United States as citizens, we have the ability to drive, eat what we like, and most importantly, exercise our freedom of speech. But imagine if this wasn't the case. Imagine if you had to stay hungry for days upon end, you had to walk in heat, and died for merely sharing your thoughts. Over a 3-year span, 1.5 million Armenians were killed in the Armenian Genocide, yet it's still not recognized in the United States. Today, I wanted to inform all of you about the Armenian Genocide with information about the denial and some proof. The Britannica Online Encyclopedia describes the genocide as the deliberate and systematic destruction of a group of people because of their ethnicity, their nationality, their race, or their religion. The Armenian Genocide occurred from 1915 to 1918 during the span of the World War I. Yet, it was just known as a relocation of Armenians from Armenia to Syria. Yet during this relocation, millions of people suffered rape, abduction, and torture. They had to walk through the Syrian desert and died from thirst and hunger. The decision was brought forth by the Young Turk Party that took over the Ottoman Empire during this time. They single-handedly saw the destruction of an entire race. The book Armenia Case of the Armenian Genocide shows even a telegram sent forth by the Young Turk Party saying he's decided to exterminate the Armenian race without any regards, telling us that he single-handedly wanted to kill the entire race. 1.5 million Armenians were killed in this relocation. Some of you may know and some of you may not, but April 24th is a day of grievance for Armenians around the world. And although a lot of you may know about this topic today, but a lot of people surprisingly don't know. April 24th, 1915 was the day when Armenia's most prominent figures were imprisoned, tortured, and killed, and many of the Armenians died on that day. Now that all of you have slight understanding of what had happened, I want to bring forth some proof that exists. And surprisingly, it's still denied as a genocide. Proof exists in epic proportions. Thousands of books have been written, newspaper articles, diaries, memoirs, and most importantly, human testimonies of family members. Henry Morgenthau was the U.S. ambassador in the Ottoman Empire during this time. And he wrote and released his memoirs later on. And there's a quote from his memoir that's kind of chilling, and it says, "When Turkish authorities gave the orders for these deportations, they were merely giving the death warrant to a whole race." Just imagine, like, someone just thinks it's okay to eliminate an entire race. Even Adolf Hitler was quoted acknowledging the genocide. He says, when he was talking about killing the Polish, he says, "Who, after all, speaks of the Armenian annihilation today?" But I think the most important part of our testimonies is all the stories I've heard since I've been growing up, and human testimony that we have that's recorded, and that memoirs have been released. My grandfather was a survivor of the genocide. He was really young, and he would always tell me when I was young that it was a known thing that the leaders who were conducting massacres of the Armenians insisted on killing the entire race and just keeping one in a museum so that they know that what they look like and have a memory of this is Armenians once existed, which is completely absurd to talk about humans in that sense. Since I've shared a few of the proof and the documentation, I kind of want to give an insight into Turkey's standpoint, because I know there's a lot of mix-up involved and misunderstandings. The United States and Turkey, both nations, have not accepted the Armenian genocide as a genocide. Turkey sees it as a death that was caused from war during World War I. And mainly there's a denial for political reasons. Turkey has wants to join the European Union, and that's kind of stopping them from joining. And the United States has an alliance with Turkey, which also prevents them from accepting the genocide. Turkey has, in fact, sent over 5,000 troops in aid in the war in Iraq. And the United States uses hundreds of Turkish Air Force and naval bases. So if they were to accept the genocide, their relations would be at stake. So I kind of told you what it was, some information about it, some proof. I think the most important thing today is to know, what can you guys do to help? What can you do? You kind of probably feel like, oh, there's nothing I can do to help something of that greatness and nature. But the most important thing, and my grandpa always told me and my family always told me, is to talk about it, to tell them. And if those people who suffered, if their stories aren't told and shared, then it's going to be unrecognized forever, and their suffrage is going to go for no reason. So if you guys all just tell people what I've told you today, it's going to raise awareness, and eventually that awareness is going to bring recognition and acceptance, and that's exactly where we want to head toward. Another thing that you can do, it's really easy, it takes like 1 minute. If you go to www.genocide1915.info, you can just sign a petition, and it raises awareness and acceptance of the genocide. And I'll say that again, it's www.genocide1915.info. I just want to stress how important this issue is to me, of course, because I'm Armenian, but also it's important to an entire, human society, because if we don't recognize things that happened in the past, then that leaves room to repeat mistakes from our history. And Armenians are going to lose their justice. Just try to imagine all those who suffered on that day and were massacred and tortured. And all of you guys can help in your own way, and all I ask is you to tell your friends, your family, and you can log on to the website, and it just takes like 30 seconds to a minute. And it's really important as humans to not allow crimes against humanity to go unseen or unjust. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamar. That was very enlightening. Thank you.